Hello, fifth grade. Welcome back. It is Tuesday. Hope that everybody enjoyed their long weekend. Hope you had a little bit of time to spend with your family, some friends maybe. Hopefully you're safe, had some fun, and you're able to relax a little bit. All right. So, last Friday we talked about impeachment. We talked about how that's such a very important thing that's happening in the world today. So we took a pause on the 13 Colonies Research, kind of that project that we started. I wanted to resume today, and so if you remember from Thursday, thinking back a little bit a while ago, you chose which colony you wanted to do. Okay. Today what we're going to do is we're going to start doing a little bit of research so we can get ready to put this into a project. All right. So the first thing that I want to do today is I want to go over the rubric, how I'm going to be grading you on this project. Okay, there are three different things that I'm going to be looking at. Okay, three different categories. First, slides, pretty easy. We're going to be doing this on Google Slides, and so making sure that there are at least 7 slides. If you do that, you'll get full points, 3 points. If you have less than that, you won't get as many points. Okay, so when I go through this rubric here, I'm just going to be talking about the things on the underneath the 3. So to get 100% on this project, I'll be going over those things. Okay, so next, information. All of the information is in the presentation, and it's in complete sentences. Okay, so I'll show you here on the next slide what I need from you as far as information, but as long as it's all in the presentation and you've written in complete sentences, you're good to go on that one too. Okay, the appearance. The slides are easy to read, and there are 5 pictures. Okay, sometimes, it's slides are sometimes you have the background color a certain way or the font a certain way and it's hard to read. So make sure they're easy to read and that somewhere in your slides, so there's 7 slides in your project, make sure there are at least 5 pictures. Okay, that's not 5 pictures for one slide, that is 5 pictures for the entire thing. Okay, so if you do the math, there are 7 slides here in your project. You'll have 5 pictures, which means there are 2 slides that won't have a picture on them, and that's just going to be up to you which ones. Okay, presentation, we're not going to worry about that now. Earlier, last year when we did this project with the 5th graders last year, we did a in-class presentation with, it was a partner thing. Obviously we can't do that now, so we are going to just forget about the presentation section for this one. Okay, so for today, like I said, we chose a colony, which one we are going to do our project on. Today you're going to answer some questions, do a little research on it. Okay, I'm going to do a few of these with you, but otherwise I'm going to leave you to go ahead and do the rest of them on your own. If you ever have any questions on anything from today, you can always jump onto the Google Meet with me at 10:05 for office hours. Otherwise, you can always send me an email or a GoGuardian message to let me know that you have some questions, and we can always get together and I can help you out. Okay, so we're going to start up here. We'll start at number 1. I want you to think about what colony you decide that you want to do your presentation on. All right, so for me, Mr. Lund, I am going to choose New York. Okay, now you obviously will probably have a different one. Whatever one you decided that you wanted to do, go ahead and you're going to type that here. Okay, and if you need some help, if you're like, man, I don't remember what I picked, or I watched the video and I did the project, but I don't really know what I picked, go back and just look at Thursdays really quick and go ahead and pick a colony. All right, so that would have been on Thursday, and that was on January 14th, should have been. Okay, all right, so I will present on New York. All right, I'm going to do number 2 here. Who founded your colony? And when was it founded? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here. I'm going to go to Google. Who founded New York? Okay, pretty cool. So like if I go back here and I see who founded and when. Well, on Google, you'll probably get a really good answer right on the top here. If you remember when we talked about researching, if we have a little rectangle up here, that is usually good information that is true. All right, so it looks like the New York colony was founded in 1626 by the Duke of York and other colonists on Manhattan Island. named after the Duke of York, and Albany, the brother of King Charles II of England. So here's our information. Looking for the when and the who. All right, now you obviously will have a different one than me, because New York was founded by somebody. If you picked a different colony, you probably have a different answer. So it was founded by Duke of York in 1626. I know that's very small. Let me see if I can zoom in. All right, so New York was founded by Duke of York in 1626. I found that information on Google right here. Who founded New York? All right, so say you're somebody who decided instead of New York, you did like Virginia. Who founded Virginia? John Smith. Was founded by John Smith in 1607. Interesting. Okay. Let's say Georgia. There's somebody who picked Georgia. James Oglethorpe in 1732. Okay, so depending on what your colony is, you can say who founded blank, and you'll be able to find that answer. Okay, let's go back. Let's look at the slides here. Let's see. I am going to do... I'll do one more. Okay, so these next ones should be kind of easy. A few major cities of your colony, a few cities that are inside of whichever colony you picked, a few Native American tribes in or around your colony. That should be kind of easy too. You can look up. Let's say Native American tribes, and let's say that I decided to do Massachusetts. Massachusetts. Okay, there we go. There's a little map even that gives us kind of an answer. Okay, so the Mohican, and Wampanoag. So I could pick those three to do that one. Okay, so that one should be pretty easy too. The one that I do want to talk about today, right just before I move on and I show you a few other things, is the climate one. Okay, climate's kind of a tough one. You can think of it as like the weather, but the weather over a long period of time. Not just like what are the winters like, right? Because if I ask somebody what was the climate like in Minnesota, I wouldn't tell you cold because it's not cold in the summer, right? So what I'm going to do is the climate in New York. Okay, and then what you're going to do is you're going to search up the climate in, and then you'll say whatever your colony is. For me, it's New York. All right. Usually get kind of a good idea. Clicking on some of these people also ask, the climate of New York features a humid subtropical climate with parts of the city transitioning into a humid continental climate. I don't even know what that means, but what it does say here, this gives the city cold, wet winters and hot, humid summers with plentiful rain all year round. So, what I'm going to say, climate in New York was cold in the winters and hot in the summers with lots of rain. Okay, and there you go. So the climate in New York was cold in the winters and hot in the summers with lots of rain. So climate means like what is the weather like all year round, pretty much. All right, so we talk about the climate in Minnesota. We get a lot of different kinds of seasons, right? We have winter, we have fall, summer, spring, and they're all very different. But if you look at somewhere like Arizona, the climate in Arizona, it's very similar throughout the whole year. It's very hot from January all the way to December. All right, so that's what climate means. It means like the weather throughout the year. Okay, so that's the question that I really wanted to go over with you with, just because it's one that you might not know about. Right? What kind of crops? You can Google that. What kind of crops were grown in your colony? Depending on what your colony is, there are different crops that they were growing. Last one, was there slavery in your colony? That is something that you can Google as well. This will be a tough one. If you need help, you can ask me. All right, I'll help you out. But this is an important thing to think about, slavery. Okay, that's kind of where the rest of your history classes will take you in middle school and high school. So that's an important one to kind of preview. Okay, now the last thing that I want you to do, kind of a fun thing, you're going to find two pictures. You're going to find a picture of what your colony looked like in 1600 and then in 2020. All right, so what I want you to do is I want you to think about one of the cities that you chose. Okay, so like for me, one of the cities that I would have chosen is New York City. Okay, that's one of the cities in my colony, and I want to say New York City in 1600. Okay, so look up. Here is this one here. Okay, I don't know if that's 1600. Let's see if I can find a different one here. I like this one. Okay, so here is Manhattan Island that they were talking about. This is New York City. Okay, I'm going to copy this one, put it over here. Oh, that's too big. Okay, so there's New York City in 1600, and then I'm going to find a picture of New York City in 2020. All right, see if I can find a picture of Manhattan. So here's New York, obviously humongous. Here is the same picture, just in 2020. Pretty cool, huh? So we have what New York City looked like in the year 1600. And then about 400 years later, look at it now. Pretty incredible. All right, so you're going to do that with your colony. You're going to think of one of the cities that is in your colony, and you can do the same thing. Find a picture of what it looked like in 1600. Find a picture of what it looked like in 2020 now. Okay, so if you get stuck and you're like, I can't find a good picture for 1600 and 2020, then what I want you to do is I want you to look up a different city in your colony. Okay, there will be one that will be good in your colony that will work, no matter what colony you picked. But you might need to do a little bit of playing around with it, see if you can find one. Okay, so what we did today is we got started on our research for our 13 Colonies project. We're working on that this week. I gave you the rubric for how I'm going to grade it. We got started on some of the information that we will need. We found some cool pictures. Okay, any questions, let me know. Remember, office hours always at 10:05.